Hi everybody. I'm kind of, let me get the camera all set up here. I'm right in the middle of constructing these little skirts and blouses. I've got glitter from one end of the house to the other. But anyway, I'll show you where I'm at on these little bodices. I don't know if you ever got the pattern from me that was just the tank top for the I didn't think I showed this one to you. The little tank top for knits. Well, I used the same pattern. Instead of using knits, though, I used some eyelet fabric. And this skirt here was, let me see if the camera can see. This skirt is actually Felicity's underskirt. That instead of hemming it up or putting in some trim on the bottom, I just cut it so that the bottom of the eyelet fabric was actually the hem of the skirt. But that's all it is Felicity's underskirt. This is the same, let me put her away. This is the same little tank top that I used for knits, only I did it in the cotton eyelet. It's the same pattern that I'm using for the next series of videos on how to make these little blouses for these full skirts with the glitter trim. The only difference is that when I made the pattern up, instead of going straight across, instead of going straight across like you would on the knit one, I just came down in the center a little bit to make it a sweetheart effect. I still haven't perfected the pattern. I'm trying different things. I'm also trying a really a pattern that's really sweetheart, so you really get that look. I've been practicing on it. I haven't got it done yet. This was with the real sweetheart effect, but I'm using some piping to see if I can sew the two pieces together and have a different colored piping. Piping you can get with the bias tapes and the rickrack and everything at the store. It's just called piping, and I'll show you how to, you're not going to get, this was from a thrift store for 35 cents. It's old, but I think it's like $1.50 now, $1.30, somewhere around there. It's not too much for a container, but that's what piping is. As long as you have a zipper foot, you can put on piping. But basically on piping, you just put it down on your fabric and you use your zipper foot and you sew it. Okay, so then you put your other piece on top and then you follow that same line of stitching, and that will, when you turn it inside out, you'll have your piping sticking out from everything, but I'll show you how to do that. But anyway, I tried the piping on, well, I'll show you when I get to Dana. So this was my first attempt. I was going to make this a dress, but I decided not to because I wanted to be able, because these things are so full of glitter, they're getting glitter everywhere around the house. So I thought if I leave them flat like this, I'll be able to store them in a flat shape like this inside a zipper lock bag, or probably one of those 2-gallon bags, so I won't get glitter all over all the rest of the doll clothes. So I just left them open. So I used my ruffler. I did my sewing, and what I ended up doing is I just took my fabric. I put my trim on first. I took my overlock and I just did a stitch of overlock, and then I took my 2 inches of the tulle. I put it on my ruffler. I used 5mm stitch with every number on the first setting on the number 1 setting on the, on the ruffler. And then I folded this in half, and then I just turned this up and ironed it with my iron so it would stay up. And then I sewed that. Let me see if I can get a close-up. I sewed this just like this. I laid it down and I just put a seam of stitching. And then once I had my tulle or my organza on the bottom of the hem, then I did the put it on the ruffler and I did the top ruffle. Some of the fabric gave me a little trouble because it was too thick. And it wasn't cut on grain. It kept going off grain because when the metal teeth catch in here, if it's not a straight grain, it tends to switch on you. So I had trouble with that. So just so you know that you've got to make sure that your fabric has a straight grain, otherwise it's going to shift. Okay, so other than that, I just took a regular piece of fabric, a little bit about 1 inch bigger, actually 2 inches bigger than the doll's waist. And then, so I could have a inch overlap, and then I just sewed the 2 rows of the ruffles onto the waistband, and then I just turned this and I whip stitched it down here. Instead of using Velcro on here, I just used a hook and eye, and on these little slip skirts like this you only need the 1 hook and eye. You can use Velcro, you can use a button if you don't want to even do that. You could just put a button here and buttoned it closed. That would have been fine too. Any one of those would have worked. Okay, so this was my first attempt at the bodice. I used the Sweetheart effect, but in this case what I did was I cut myself 2 straps, and then I put them here when I sewed my bodice together, and then when I came out they ended up going around the bodice. You can do these any shape you want, absolutely any shape you want. You know, anything. You can do absolutely anything on these little bodices. I did add about another 1/4 of an inch down here because I thought this was a little too short. So on the back here I put Velcro on the back, and I also put Velcro on the neckline. So that was basically, that's all there is to that little blouse. So let me see where the pattern is. So I marked the pattern where you would actually, once you sew that, where you would actually put your sleeves, your shoulder straps to go around the bodice. I was trying to get a better Sweetheart effect, like I said, but I'll show that to you on the next doll. So anyway, that was one optional sleeve for the halter type little bit of blouse here. So that was one outfit. So let me move these to the side. So then the next outfit, I thought I would, this isn't done. It just it might look done, but it's not done. This is, I tried to vary up the process a little bit. So I used 2 different colors of fabric. I used the white polka dot on the bottom, and then I did the sparkle polka dot on top. You really can't tell that there's really unless you look at a certain angle, you really, well, I guess you can tell there's sort of, you can tell there's 2 different types of fabric. So in this case, she's not done yet. These things are just sitting right here on top. I was at Walmart, and Walmart has these, it's called Favorite Findings. It's in the button section, but they've got these little cute polka dot buttons. They have a bunch of different colors, but you get the black and white polka dots, and at the same time you get the black and white striped. I think I paid $1.97 for this package of buttons, but I thought that was really cute how it added just a little bit extra on that doll dress, or skirt and blouse. Okay, so this is another collar I was working on. So what I did was I cut my collar out, I ironed it on a square of fabric, and then I put, I ironed it on the wrong side of a square of fabric, just like, let me see, I'll just say I just ironed it on a square of fabric like this. Then I put another square underneath, and then I sewed the inside seam, and then I sewed the outside seam. I didn't try cutting out this collar and trying to sew it that way. It was too hard. So I put it on a square of fabric, and then I sewed it that way. Then I cut my seam allowances, and I trimmed each one of these, clipped them in between each of the scallops, and I actually put a couple clips around the outside here so it would lie flat. And then I turned it inside out, and then I used my loop turner to turn that inside out. I forgot to mention on that one skirt, if you really want to make them snazzy, they have this at Walmart and all the craft stores too. You can add that extra layer of rickrack if you really want to make it stand out. So if you're going to add rickrack to the waistband like this, I would probably also, I probably would have added that gold rickrack to the outside of the collar too, or go around the outside of the collar, around the collar. That would have been really cute too, but I didn't have it at the time. I just saw it, so I bought it. Same thing Walmart. I think I paid, I forget what it was. There's no price on it, but it's metallic baby rickrack. I think maybe $1.39, something like that. I'm not sure, but there's just so many embellishments you can do on these outfits. So that was that one. So here is, after I used the black and the white for this collar. It's not even done yet. I just got it pinned on because I'm just not done with it. And then I thought that cute little bow would be cute with it too. So anyway, here is, it's just pinned on. Here is that collar, and I still haven't tucked the ends in yet, but this is where I'm at on that collar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these ends out. I'm going to tuck them in and finish them off. And then I'm going to just put some Velcro on the back of this. I'm going to trim these down, of course, but you get the idea. I'm just going to trim those in, make that a square finish. Just like that. And then I'm going to Velcro each one of these sides. And that's my collar for the... see what I mean about that, sweetheart? I wasn't too thrilled with it. Even when I tried to pop this out a little bit. So that's why I was trying to get a better sweetheart effect on the tops of these. But it was very simple how I did it. Like I said, I sewed, let's just say there's two of these together. I sewed, I folded this up 1/4 of an inch and ironed it. And then I sewed all the way around it. And then when I turned this inside out, I just sewed across the bottom. Do you see how I did that? I turned that up and then I just put a seam across the bottom of the blouse, and I put in some Velcro. This one I made too long, so I cut the pattern down a little bit. But anyway, once you have that, you can make these collars any shape, any design you want to, and then just you can just whip stitch them to the top here, right here like this, so you don't have to do them all at the same time. That would work. Or if you want to, it's just too hard to try and get that inserted at the same time that you are making the design. So like I said, that design could be absolutely anything you want it to be. Let me put this back on. I noticed that Kelsey's getting some stains because I'm leaving her dressed in some of the clothing, and the ink is transferring to her skin. But it only happens on her because she's such a light-skinned doll. But so that's what I mean about those collars. You can do any shape you want, any design you want. You know, you could make them. You can even bring them around so they're like this. Let me just fold this. You can bring I hope you can see this in the picture. You can bring them around like this and make a, let's see if I can get that in there. You know, well, you get the idea. You can just do anything on these sleeves whatsoever. You can even put them sideways like this so they're off the shoulder and give it that kind of a look too. You could do that. There's just so many things you can do. It's just having the time to do them. But anyway, that was that one. Okay, so that's the round collar that looks like this. Okay, and that's with the sweetheart effect. So then with Dana, same thing with this. I did it exactly the same way. I just did a hook and eye and hooked it, overlapped it in the back, and that's one thing about the organza though. If you don't cut it evenly, it has a tendency to pull. So you're gonna have to cut some strings every once in a while. But that glitter fabric really does. And they're coming out with so many of the glitter fabrics, but they just turn so cute, you know. Okay, so here is the one I was trying with the sweetheart effect with the piping. So I was thinking you could do the same thing with this. Let me push this up. Of course, it's not done. But you know those bubble skirts, instead of doing the full skirts with the organza, you can do those big bubble skirts. So I was going to take this brown fabric and make a bubble skirt out of it using the same bodice design, and then put the lace underneath it. I thought that would be a cute design also, and then I could come up with a different type of collar. But there's just, you know, there's just so much you can do with these things. I didn't mean to squash the lace under there, but you get the idea of what you can do with the piping, the rick-rack, the shape of your collars. There's just a million things you can do. You can take this, these little, on these sweethearts, you could take this little sweetheart and then put a trim all the way around the inside of the bodice and give it that fluffy look like that. I mean, there's just so many things you can do. It's just your imagination. But anyway, that's pretty much where I'm at on these. I don't know where that little piece of brown skirt is. But anyway, you get the idea. So that's basically where I'm at. When I come back, I'm going to show you how to, for those who don't know how to do using the, I'll finish putting together this one for that one outfit, so you can see how to make these types of collars for these little blouses. Okay, I'll be back.